Hello, and welcome to The Devil's Hour. My name is Jeff with the G. And look, we have a new graphic this week. That's our contact information for you. If you'd like to know, that's the devil's exhibit at gmail.com. Or if you like the show, please tip me at Venmo at Jeff with the G 13. So, how you guys doing today? You doing good? Doing great? Having fun? Before I get started with everything going on today, I want to make sure and say Happy Rex Manning Day, everybody. Happy Rex Manning Day. Who have we got rocking and rolling today to celebrate Rex Manning Day with me? Say hello in the chat. I would love to hear you talking. It's an interactive show. We've got a lot of really cool stuff going on, but I'd like to see what's going on and how you haps and what's going on and having fun that way. If you're I'm currently looking through the Cabin Fever live stream chat, so if you're not logged into that channel, then I can't see your chat, unfortunately. I will try my best to track it down with one of my machines here going forward. So, here we go. This is episode 3 of season 2 of The Devil's Hour. If you haven't seen season 1, that's fine. It was a live show, so if you weren't there live, you missed it. Oh well. Looks like our old humble guy. Cheers. It's feeling saucy, so that's cool. Also looks like I think you may be on my channel versus the Cabin Fever, but I can look at both currently, so that works out well. All right, so we have a really good show tonight. It's kicking, it's rocking, it's rolling, it's awesome. We've got people from all over the country, actually all over North America, really, just about, performing tonight. We've got from New York, we've got a really cool musical act called Couchsurf. From the Pacific Northwest, we've got the inimitable Louis Fox performing, doing some fun stuff. From the great white north of Canada, we have some stuff coming down with the Monsters of Schlock. And from Houston, Texas, JBZ and the Nightcrawlers are showcasing some of their sort of stuff. So it's going to be a really fun and loaded show. So I'm glad you guys are here. It's cool. It's groovy. Let's get started. Now, right now, it's been strongly recommended by governmental agency, health organization, why not, that when going out, you're expected to wear a mask. Here are some of the more interesting things I've come across to see whether or not it's worthwhile and cool and groovy. So we got something like that. You can watch that and stuff like that. So if you want to do really good vitamin C intake while you're doing things, that's really nice and cool and groovy. If you want to be like a janky Darth Vader, that's always really, really nice to try to help out with health. If you got to get to that discotheque or listen to disco tunes in the grocery store, this might be a good look for you to do so. Looks like a low rent kind of Silent Hill or Spy versus Spy kind of thing, which is kind of cool and weird. Of course, BoJack Horseman has to go pick up his meds, and of course, and a fifth of vodka. And then you can't be truly safe unless you're Scuba Steve. But people aren't the only people leaving out with this sort of stuff, because you can really also see things like, I don't know, like your dog, who looks like he's wearing like a exited Starbucks cup. And then, of course, there is a really, really mad cat who looks like an arch villain ready to take over the world. It's horrible, it's awful, it's nasty. And then, of course, my favorite is this one. I'm not sure whether or not he's trying to protect himself or he was trying to get a little extra something from his missus and was not expecting an extra package down there. Now, the World Health Organization has stated that if you do wear a mask, you should wear a mask in public if you are actually feeling ill. So if you're coughing or sneezing, then of course wear a mask. Or if you know you're going to be in close proximity to anybody who's immunocompromised or is suspected to have COVID-19. Regardless, make sure you wash your hands thoroughly with the 20 seconds before donning or removing the mask, and then of course washing afterwards. Also never touching the breathing portion of it. Cheers. Now, experts are saying that we can expect to be dealing with actually some sort of aspect of the coronavirus for much longer than anticipated to a certain level. And so we have to be prepared for that and adapt to it. Luckily, someone on the internet has actually found out a way to help out with the hookup culture with having something called the face mask code. What's cool about this, it's kind of like the handkerchief code from back in the old days. If you don't know what the handkerchief code is, look it up, Google. Please make sure you keep your safety mode off, because that's a lot more fun, I think. But the idea is basically you wear a type of color mask depending on what sort of thing you want to have happen or to happen to someone else. You will bejewel one side if you're essentially a giver and the other side if you're a receiver. So for example, if you're really into oral sex, you wear a light blue mask. And if you're a giver on one side, receiver on the other. They have other really cool or interesting mask colors you can go with. That includes things like medium blue for if you have a uniform fetish. Yellow if you're into water sports naturally. Black if you're into S&M. Brown is pretty self-explanatory. And then you can always go orange. Orange signifies that you have very few limits. So, which is going to be interesting because when hunting season rolls around, let's just say that it gives a whole new meaning to about saying that you bagged that 8-point buck. Or at least that's the name he gave you. If you guys want to, later on social media, I will post that picture and you guys can make sure you wear the right color mask for what you want. I don't judge. Dana White, the UFC head honcho, is currently working on keeping plans about keeping business alive during this pandemic. They're still expecting to put on the UFC 249 on April 18th from some mystery location. And then showcasing a fight each week for the next 2 months. After that, White says that they are close to purchasing an actual island so that way they can fly out fighters every week to perform in tournaments. Where have I heard something like that before? Now, based on the current pandemic climate, we really can expect this sort of action. Look, they've got masks on and fighting back and forth. Dumb jokes going on. Speaking of dumb, just 2 days after begrudgingly issuing a stay-at-home order, I can talk really. It's not the whiskey. Mississippi Governor Tate Good Old Boy Reeves took the time to declare that April was Confederate Heritage Month. He stated that April is when the Great Confederacy began and ended after a 4-year struggle. Now, Governor Good Old Boy could not be reached for comment, but honestly, it's really hard to hear him from behind his racism, I mean his mask. And speaking of hiding behind racism and masks, Rodney Howard Brown. He is the head pastor for the megachurch River at Tampa Bay. He was actually arrested this past Wednesday for holding services involving crowds of more than 10 people. And now he has stated that he is keeping his church doors closed because of it. He actually states the real reason is because it's over fear of his congregation's safety and to protect them from the quote-unquote government tyranny. However, it was soon discovered that the real reason is that because the church lost its license. Which is really interesting that Pastor Brown is willing to sacrifice and stand up to literal plagues with faith and devotion, but the moment the idea of a lawsuit popping up, he closes up shop. Now, before anybody gets into a tuffle or a sniff because, the government taking over church, stuff like that, let me explain who this douchebag really is. This man is a man who claims he has a doctorate in ministry from the School of Bible Theology, which is a non-accredited Pentecostal correspondence school. Non-accredited means that nobody recognizes it in the professional world. He and his wife actually have been heavily involved with several multi-level marketing companies, aka pyramid schemes, including companies such as Monavie and Janus. Monavie is actually shut down several years ago due to defaulting on loans, lawsuits concerning things like patent infringements and false advertising and fraud. Brown was also one of the guys who went to Washington, D.C. and held the evangelical pastors who went to Washington, D.C. to lay hands on the current sitting president. And the real reason why this guy jives my jibe is that on August 27th, 2019, Howard Brown actually went into the Canadian Arctic to the Nunavut territory, I believe is what it's pronounced as. I'm sure I was saying it wrong, and hopefully some of my Canadian friends will correct me. Anyway, he went up there way, way, way north, and he went to go preach to the Inuit populace with a call stating that God loves a generous giver. Now, for those who aren't aware of the Inuits and even most native populations, most of them live in extreme poverty. Like so much so that in that area, almost 50% of the populace actually lives on some sort of government assistance. So when they're getting word that they must give money to help this white guy, some of them tried to leave. Well, this is when Brown got it kind of testy, and he started lashing out at the crowd and started actually even all but bullying them to try to stay around and listen to the rest of his performance. And I do say performance rather than sermon, because if you're taking a sermon, you're trying to be nice and groovy and people like that. And that's just some of the things he's done. He's been on Alex Jones's InfoWars. He's just, you know what? I just can't take it anymore. I need a break. I need some sort of palate cleanser. So if you forgive me, ladies and gentlemen, let's have a little palate cleanser real quick. And there we go. Huh. A little puppy and a watermelon. Makes me feel so much better. I really, really enjoy that. All right, so we got a lot of really good show coming on tonight. Once again, we got Couchsurf, we've got JBZ and the Nightcrawlers, the Monster Schlock and Louis Fox coming on, and some other fun stuff as well. So please wait until after the word from our sponsor, and then we will move on. Thank you.
Is your bar looking a little ordinary? Is it lacking something awesome? Well, head out to your local liquor store and pick up something extraordinary. Grab a bottle of Old Humble Straight Whiskey or Old Humble Special Reserve. They're clean, smooth, easy drinking whiskeys that taste the way whiskey should taste. From humble beginnings to an extraordinary finish, Old Humble whiskeys are what your bar needs today. Walk tall, be awesome, and drink humble. Old Humble Straight Whiskey and Old Humble Special Reserve. Get yours today.
And welcome back. That is getting ahead of myself. That was Old Humble. They're actually my sponsor for the show, right there. Special Reserve. That's what I'm drinking currently right now. I hope you guys are enjoying. I'm having a little kind of more of a Manhattan today. Now, as I do the show today, what it is, I got videos from the different performers, stuff like that. And so at the bottom of the videos, I actually have their contact information and tipping information. So please tip generously. These guys, they're professionals. They're really cool and like that and stuff like that. So I want to make sure they at least get enough money to say, I don't know, at least buy a bottle of whiskey or something. Hopefully more than that, at least for now, and or making sure that you can do something to get them booked to shows and go to their shows and stuff like that. So let's start with our first contributor tonight. So our first contributor isn't what you call an everyday artist. From homeless to Harlem, he has actually traveled around the country performing everywhere from small house shows to the 2018 Vans Warped Tour with the band Survival Kit, which is how I met him. Now, he seeks to inspire the world with positivity and realistic views of self-growth. Currently, he has 3 singles available on your favorite music service. Couchsurf shows that he is actually a very good force to reckon with. You can find all his social media stuff with the at I am Couchsurf, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, and so on and so forth. And check it out. He actually has a new track dropping on Friday, and I recommend you guys checking that out, picking it up, buying it, playing the hell out of it. It's called Hundreds and Tree, and I've been told it's going to be the hottest thing ever, so much so that it could just possibly heat up the coronavirus too much because we're dancing around so much that it'll cure the world and we can dance our nights away. So if you could, please give it up for the one, the only, Couchsurf.
You're not making much sense right now. I'm never gonna get it, you're never gonna write it down. You're saying things, but I'm seeing sounds. I really regret it, I don't know what they told you, but it's not true, I was not myself. Thought you should sweat it, showed me the phone booth that I drove through, almost killed myself. Don't wanna talk too much about all I messed up. I know I'm not up touch, but I'm my father's son, and I never do what you want. I'm living for the hunt, so you think you know me, but you never know me like I do. They've been talking all over town, hella hypocritic, hit it, quit it kind of clowns. Been bashing me till I'm out of bounds. Hold on, wait a minute, oh, I'd watch what you say, dude. I know kung fu, I'll protect myself. Boy, you're gonna get it, knocked out my front tooth, broken bones and bruised, I think I need help. Oh, I need help. Don't wanna talk too much about how I messed up. I know I'm not up touch, but I'm my father's son, and I never do what you want. I'm living for the hunt, so you think you know me, but you never know me like I do.
Couchsurf, everybody. Wasn't that amazing? His other 2 tracks are like freaking also just like, and his glasses game is so on point. I am jealous to know Lindsay. I can't wait to hear the new track on Friday. Please make sure you join me to pick up that stuff. He's an amazing artist. I'm glad to know him. You saw his contact information. Make sure that you track him down, and if you can tip, please do so. He makes an amazing piece of work, and so I really like it. And yes, Tim, I'm glad you're having your bacon fresh margarita, and yes, you did come back to see a music video. Glad you enjoyed it. Cool. So you guys ready for our next performance? Our next performers and stuff like that? All right, our next performers come all the way to the Great White North. They are the Canadian Madmen and a Carney duo, the Great Orbucks, and Sweet Pepper Klopak, otherwise known as the Monsters of Schlock. They have been burned and bruised, hammered, hooked, stapled, and smashed, all in the name of comedy? They're actually more like a real-life cartoon strip that is basically Sideshow meets Jackass. They've won tons of awards, including Performer of the Weekend at the most recent Southern Sideshow Hootenanny, which is how I know them. I will talk them forever because I love the Hootenanny, and I saw that Big D Lemma is on the on the speech, and she was there too, so it's a really great thing. Here's another cool thing about the Monsters of Schlock. They have broken 26 Guinness World Records. 26. And some of those, they beat their own records to make sure nobody else could. It's amazing, isn't it? 26 Guinness records. I mean, I can barely get through the book, much less try to break one. Here's another cool thing they do. They also do a thing called Orbex and Pepper Do Science. What that is that's an interactive science experience that they do with schools and kids all over Canada to help promote, naturally, science. In fact, at the beginning of March, which seems like such a long time ago, although it's just been a month, they actually did a show with Bill Nye the Science Guy where they talked to a bunch of kids and stuff like that. I like to think of them as like, in the best way possible, is the Mythbusters, but completely unhinged. So what I got going on here is I got a really cool thing. It's kind of a little bit of what they kind of do to give you a hint on how it works out and stuff like that. So if you could, please give it up for the ones, the only, the Monsters of Schlock.
I'm the Great Orbex, and this is my brother, Sweet Pepper Klopek. And together we're the Monsters of Schlock, the world's most extreme two-man circus sideshow county magic extravaganza.
Oh, no.
No!
You not try this at home? Oh, Lord. There are so many things that are wrong with
Tell me
it.
what's happening. Why is this happening? Why?
Gee, why do you to grab these and tear them off as fast as you can?
Die Monsters of Schlock sind nämlich Meister in Aua.
And it actually will go right back to its original. Here we go. On the count. So. On the count.
Nicht nachmachen. Das könnt...
But I love you guys. Thank you. We're in Australia, everybody. Some noise, Columbus. Show. Thank you so much, guys. And thank you.
You are about to witness something momentous. You are about to see a Guinness World Record in action.
I hope you're not eating right now. And then, of course, there's the giant bed of nails.
Everybody ready? 3, 2.
To beat the record, the bikes have to ride over Orbex at least 32 times in under 2 minutes.
How you doing? Good. Keep her going. Keep moving.
Go. 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for our 25th Guinness World Record. Put your hands together for Sweet Pepper Klopek. 3, 2, 1, go. 1, 2, 3, 12, 13, 14, come on! 16, 27, 28, 29, 30, 36, Ladies and gentlemen. Stop laughing. This is very serious.
Wasn't the monster Schlock amazing? Really good friends of mine. They're very dope as well. And he also caught a little commercial for a good friend of mine who is actually a milliner. She's out of Houston, Texas. That's the Violet Peacock. She's also making masks right now. Go to violetpeacock.com to check out the cool hats. Talked to her about making a mask. It's all cool and groovy and awesome. I recommend them personally. And the monsters. I'm currently trying to figure out a way to get them to Texas. At the very least. I'm working on it, guys. I'll get you guys here. All right, so last week I had a really good time talking about kind of the history of Sideshow because I love Sideshow. So I figured I'd keep up doing that as well. Last week I talked about Big Jack Earl. This week I want to talk about another person who's kind of also still bigger than life, also from Texas Sideshow past. And she really was larger than life. So who I want to talk about today is I want to talk about Alice from Dallas, who's considered at one point being the world's fattest woman or fattest girl, as you see the picture right there. This lovely lady of freaking awesome was actually born in 1893 in Wiley, Texas. And then when she was 15, her family up and moved to Dallas. And like most quote-unquote freak acts, because fat people were considered freak acts at the time, she didn't really seek out the life. She really kind of found her. Now, you see, Alice was discovered because while she was being a patient at the Parkland Hospitals there in Dallas. You see, she was about 20 at the time and weighed roughly 400 pounds. And she was seeing the doctors about trying to lose some of that weight. Now, another patient that was there was a guy by the name of Doc Palmer, who was part of the Cells Floto Circus. Yes, that is a real name for a circus, Cells Floto Circus. Saw her and apparently went, "Nope, doctors, you can't do anything. You're ruining the greatest fat woman that ever lived." And that was the beginning of her showbiz life. She actually traveled around circuses for many years. There's a picture of her with the Cells Floto Circus, sitting on the back of an elephant that way, before she ended up joining the Ringling Brothers Circus. It's there that she actually met her husband, Frank Julian, who was at the time the circus's tattooed man. What was really cool is that their marriage in 1921 actually made national headlines. The reason why is because, well, what do you get? You got a perfect circus wedding. You have the fat lady marrying the tattooed man, and then for the maid of honor was Olga, the bearded lady, and for the best man, there was Major Mite, who was 20 inches tall. Perfect setup like that. Fortunately, I couldn't find a picture of a wedding picture. I was really trying to, because I thought it'd be awesome, but I couldn't find one. Now, although she was quite very large, so much so that Ringling Brothers actually would put on the posters that she measured in 6 feet in diameter. And at one point, she was also reported to weigh 685 pounds. That right there is a picture of one of her pitch cards, which was like a souvenir you can get with the circuses when you meet all these individuals and stuff like that. But in reality, she was actually pretty lithe and limber. A lot of times, believe it or not, that when she was with Ringling Brothers, she would actually walk all the way from the train to the tents all the time, because Ringling Brothers actually had train cars, but they were never really terribly close to wherever the fairgrounds were. But she would have no problems walking back and forth and keeping up with almost anybody. So it's really, really kind of cool that way. She actually toured for over 30 years before retiring to the Oak Cliff area of Dallas, Texas with her husband. Fortunately, in 1955, she passed away at the age of 62 to cancer, with her husband following the next year. What I really like about Alice from Dallas is she really was like, as much as you would think, you look at her, she looks like a mom, and that's how she acted. She was a great mom for the group, and so it was really cool and stuff like that. So she's a type of person that really takes heart as far as that sort of things and going on. So I'm really happy to have discovered her, and hoping that no matter what your size or looks, you still have that generosity and grace to be such a thing. So I really like it. So thank you. All right. Hey, Tim. Yeah. I like, so yes, I do. I really dig the idea of unusual people being accepted and praised. That's what I like doing, and that's really what the Sideshow community was all about. Was, yes, we were kind of freakish and stuff like that, but that was like family, which is what I always really like about it. Speaking of family, I had a chance to talk with my dog again today because I can't go out and talk to people, and this is what he had to say. Hello, Shinobi. How are you today? Are you doing good? I'm glad to hear it. How are you doing with the quarantine? Are you enjoying quarantine? That's good to know. Now, what do you think? When do you think it'll be going back to normal again? Do you know? Do you know when we'll be back to normal? I hope so too. Now, anything you want to tell people out there concerning the best things to occupy quarantine and stuff are? Really, I would not have thought of that. Well, thank you so much once again. This is Shinobi with his notes. That scam Shinobi. Literally, that's who I have to talk to all the time because I'm here by myself with the dog. He does what he can. Anyway, so you guys ready for your next act? Are you? Are you really? Cool. So next up is a great band that comes all the way from Houston, Texas, JBZ and the Nightcrawlers. I'm going to be up front here. Jay is actually a really good friend of mine. He actually was a roommate for a couple years with me. Had I not decided to move to Austin, he'd probably still be my roommate. Jay is actually a professional musician, and he also operates some of the most successful open mics all over Houston with the Plug and Play Music Group. Now, the Nightcrawlers are currently working on their second EP right now. Hopefully be ready by the end of the year. But their first EP, Boom, is currently available on all major streaming platforms. I completely recommend it. It's really, really great. You can catch them all also on the social medias, which is the JBZ and the Nightcrawlers right there. He also has shirts and stickers and stuff like that, which you can get at jbzmusic@gmail.com. So what I got next is I got this really cool, powerful song that I've just adored the song for so long, and it has a very good, powerful message, especially concerning what's going on today. So if you could please put your hands together, and you might notice some people as well that you might know. You can please give it up for JBZ and the Nightcrawlers with 3 Days to Live.
because of this sin. It can't be worse than the hell that I'm in. 5 years gone, 3 days to live. It only takes one act to make this end. Permanent solution to temporary problems. I'm clinging to life. I miss my opportunity to solve them. The warmth consumes me, and now I'm scared. I don't wanna die. I need to live. I love my family. I miss my friends. I'm stronger than you. This isn't how it's supposed to end. 5 years gone, 3 days to live. It only takes one act to make this end. Permanent solution to temporary problems. I'm clinging to life. I miss my opportunity to solve them. 5 years gone, 3 days to live. It only takes one act to make this end. Permanent solution to temporary problems. I'm clinging to life. I miss my opportunity to solve them. I miss my opportunity to solve them. I'm glad I missed my opportunity to solve them.
JB's and the Nightcrawlers, everybody. What's interesting about that particular video is that everybody that was in actually the actors, as it will, I don't want to call it actors, but the people that were in the video were all people who survived suicide and are suicide attempts, obviously, or thought about it or all that sort of stuff. So it's a very powerful thing, and they're really great people, and yeah, so it's really, really cool. What's everybody drinking right now? I'm still having my nice, lovely Manhattan, which is from Old Humble Whiskey. They are a sponsor for my shows in general. They have been for quite a while. Let me do a little refill, change the mood a little bit, make it much more upbeat. All right. Cheers, everybody. All right. Ready for our next guest? All right, cool. So our next up is a really, really amazing, awesome person. He is a multi-threat when it comes to doing things. He is a juggler. He does some crazy cowboy tricks. He magics. That's a word. He can magics. He actually holds two different Guinness World Records. Apparently, this is a Guinness World Records Day. And he's all around a good guy and really dope as well. Louis Fox. Louis Fox is an amazing performer. I met him at the Great Southern Sideshow Hootenanny. Once again, I will talk that up all day long, all day, every day. How can you not talk about a place where a show where you go and see a bunch of circus people in New Orleans? Have a great time there. So I very much recommend it when they do it again next year, or they do events all over the country. They're usually sponsored by the Hootenanny. Hopefully we'll get some stuff here in Texas as well. As far as Louis there, he actually won an award last year for the Big Hoot Award last year for the Hootenanny. So like Louis is just an awesome guy. You can go to, he actually has a website called www.louisfox.com. You can also give him a like on Facebook and Instagram, I believe, for the Louis Fox Show. It's also give him a like and solely really good. So it's really, really awesome. So check him out. So please, if you can, make everything up right. Get up from the one, the only. He actually made this. We actually did this bit for this show, so it actually is interactive. So please, in the chat, get involved. It's worthwhile, believe me. All right, you guys ready? You're the one, the only, Mr. Louis Fox.
How's it going? I'm Louis. Great to be here. I do some magic tricks. We're gonna start with a simple trick that uses some coins. We have 1, 2, 3 coins. 3 coins. If you watch them close, if I make one appear right there, that gives us still 3 coins. One jumps from hand to hand. All right, they go from this hand to this hand. They switch hands faster than a Kardashian gets a TV show. All right, check it out. 2 here, 1 here. 2 here, 2 here. Last one is going to go from this hand to this hand on the count of 3. Don't blink or you'll miss it. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All 3 of them, just like that. Yeah, you can chat in the comments there too. Tell me how much you liked it, how amazing that trick is. My ego needs it because I don't get out to perform right now. Uses 3 dice. Watch. If I squeeze the first one, it disappears from my hand. It doesn't really disappear because you're not 4 years old. You know it has to be somewhere, and that somewhere is under the cup like that. That's dice number 1. Second one, gone. That's dice number 2. You know how I say 2 dice when I do my show in Mexico? I say 2 dice because I don't speak Spanish. Dice number 3, boom, gone. You know where it is? Underneath the cup like that. All 3 dice. Dice 1 in my hand. Dice 2 in my hand. Number 3 goes in my pocket. What's that leave in my hand? Feel free to enter your guesses in the comments. You guess 3, you win. Yay! Let's try it again. Dice 1 in the hand, dice 2 in the hand, dice 3 in the pocket. What does that leave in the hand? If you guess 3, congratulations, you lost. It's none. You know where they go, right? All 3 go under the cup like that. That's all 3 dice. Now, I'll tell you how this works. It uses more than 3 dice. I know, shocker. That's the 4th one right there. Oh, the applause in the comments is deafening. It's deafening. I'm going to teach you how to do a magic trick. You need a deck of cards and a coin along with a hole punch. What you do is you punch a hole in a card, and it's more of a joke. What you do is you give that card to someone and ask them if they can push a coin through that hole without tearing or ripping the card. And here's how you do it. You have them hold their hand out, you set the card on top, and you push it through the hole. I know, you're expecting something cooler like me to stretch it out, drop the coin through, and shrink it down. You can do that as well. It's a little bit harder, a little slightly more advanced technique, but that's a fun trick you can go home and try. Last thing we'll do, we'll play a game. Uses some shells, 3 shells, and a little ball. The ball always starts in the middle, never the ends. I'm going to mix them around. You have to tell me where the ball is. Some people would guess it's underneath shell number 1. Those people would be people who just lost. Some people guess shell number 2. Some people guess shell number 3. If you guessed shell number 3, you just lost because it's under shell number 2. We'll try it again. Let's do this. All right, here we go. What's the guess? Some people would guess 1 or 3. Those people would lose because it's here underneath shell number 2. All right. Make it a little bit easier to follow. Check it out. We'll do it this way. With one hand. One hand. Watch close. What's the guess? 1, 2, or 3? Put your guess in the comments. If you guessed 3, you lost. If you guessed 2, you lost. The winners, under number 1. If you did that, give yourselves a big round of applause. All right. Last one. Check it out. Under the middle. Hardest mix of them all. Which shell do you guess? Some people would guess this one here. Some people would guess this one, 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 or this one, or this one. But if you guess that one, you are correct. I'm Louie. Have an awesome time.
Louie Fox, everybody. I'll be honest, it's really weird doing this show because I'm actually watching the show over 3 different screens being showed up. So there's a weird lag, and so it's really funny to see the setup and forth that's like that. On the chat was actually Louie Fox who performed that for the show, so give it up for Louie Fox, everybody. There's your deafening clap right there, Louie. And then Sweet Pepper Klopek is also on the chat as well from the Monsters of Schlock. Hey, Pepper. It's really great to see you, bud. Miss you guys so much. So did you guys have a good time? Did you like it? Cool little thing that happened. You learned a little, saw some new things you probably never saw before. Met some people you hadn't met before. That's what the Devil's Hour is all about. It's all about trying to do this nice little fun little like mixing melting pot to let people discover some new things they may not have discovered before. So so I'm gonna bring up the information for all the guests that have been on tonight. Let's give it up for Couchsurf. Right there, you can contact them at www.iamcouchsurf.com. And there's his Venmo, which is Andrew Lynn 93. So please generate and go get his freaking song when it drops on Friday. It's definitely worthwhile. We got the Monsters of Schlock right there. Go to their website, www.monstersofschlock.com. You can also make sure like their Instagrams at Orbax and Pepper Do Science. And make sure you tip them great right there, which is PayPal, thegreaterorbax@gmail.com. Thank you, Tifa. Next up, we got Louie Fox, who we just saw right there. It was amazing and wonderful. I can't wait for him to come down to Texas again and do some stuff. Maybe we can coordinate and get Louie and the Monsters down and do something crazy. I'll explain why that may be worthwhile in a second. If you want to tip him and do stuff like that, info@louiefox.com. If you're really into magic and stuff like that, he actually has some tricks he sells over at hocuspocus.com. Not to say that I don't have any or like that or whatever. Last but not least, we also have JBZ, the Nightcrawlers. You can contact him at jbzmusic@gmail.com. And there's his Venmo, JBZ. Jay just had his birthday, by the way. He is 35. At the very least, if you can, tip him a little bit just for his birthday. Because, I mean, he's an out-of-work musician, so he's trying to make stuff work as best he can. Let's take that off. So, the reason I want to say that a second ago I said, hey, let's get Louie down and same time try to do like a little mini tour with Monster Schlock is because everybody's so dope. And we want to get together so much so that me and myself, Monsters, and Louie actually spent time in New Orleans on the last day. And we palling around, and we decided to get these fun little hats. And so much so that we want to get together and do a group together like the Burgundy Dopes. Maybe we can coordinate with Couchsurf and JBZ and do like a concert and stuff like that and get really crazy. Okay, thank you guys so much for coming part of the show. We got like about 9 minutes there, but I still got some stuff to talk about. So my name is Jeff with a G. If you like what you saw, the show, and you want to keep it happening too, please tip right there. That is my personal Venmo. That will go to me making a better show, and most likely for me to put better for this show, because I plan on keeping doing it even beyond the quarantine and stuff like that. I think it's very important we kind of do this big melting pot and go more national and global to showcase really cool acts that you may not see otherwise. Also, part of the Cabin Fever live stream network. If you can donate to that, please do so. In either event, even if you can't tip to any of this sort of stuff, which is perfectly fine, we're all out of work, so it's tough having money. Liking all of our stuff on social media helps with algorithms, stuff like that, to make it better, things like that. Who knows, maybe somebody else gets into it because you referenced it and they can buy the stuff, which is still fine. And then when you have money again, then you go, hey, what was that really cool band I heard? Or hey, that really cool act I saw is coming to town. I need to go see it and stuff like that. So it's really, really worthwhile. So here's my last little bit here, and then we're going to go drink the night away. Actually, before I get to that, right after this, hang out on Cabin Fever live stream, because Tifa Tiddlywinks will be on with another great sideshow performer who's known as Boobzilla. They're going to have a conversation and get dumb and stupid, which is going to be an amazing thing. Tifa's a good friend of mine. I was on her show a couple of nights ago, so it's really worthwhile to be a part of it. So stick around after this to catch Tifa and see her things. That's right, Mr. Old Humble Guy Joe. We are going to drink the night away. Gotta love that lag. All right, so I know it's been rough. How have you guys been coping? Me, I've been doing okay. What has been really, truly comforting for you? Has it been that mashed potatoes or mac and cheese kind of thing that you remember that your memories of mom used to making? Is it that favorite movie or TV show? You know, those things that make you think of simpler times where you felt warm and cozy and safe. Because lately it's just been horrible. We've been through a lot. And I'm talking more than just the pandemic. I mean, we've been beaten down, been violated, made to feel inferior and worthless. And we're just tired. I just want to sit here with our mac and cheese, watch our favorite movie, and rest and recoup before we have to get up and be better for ourselves and for the world. And so with the news that dropped today, I'm just going to let you know that Joe Biden really is our mac and cheese, our mashed potatoes. He's our breather for a while we heal up from all this abuse that we have suffered. He is that tide to that better time for us. He's not perfect, no. But he's a hell of a lot better than what we have now. That's why I would like to applaud Sanders for actually doing the noble thing during the crisis and suspending his campaign. We really need to band together, and if we really want to survive and flourish for what we're doing. So I'm going to do what I can, and I'm going to be voting against the current regime in November. I'll be voting Democrat because I believe in that party platform. Because in the end, that's what truly matters. It doesn't matter who the masthead is. What matters is what the ideals of the party that they represent. So I would like to guys thank you for being here tonight. I'll be here next week, and stay stay safe and have fun.